Hi, everyone. We finally made it a few minutes late. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Jo McCatty. I'm the founder of Proto Science. It's all about career coaching individuals to help them get to their next career destination. I also love supporting businesses to get ahead when it comes to hiring their talent and to retain them effectively. This is a live session to do with CV and LinkedIn, giving you some quick tips that you can walk away with. I'm not going to showcase to you, here is sample exhibit A, and this is what your template needs to look like, although that is an important part of the process. Just some minor things that you can do so it doesn't feel so overwhelming when it comes to your CV and LinkedIn, and why it's important to have them. And, whether it's the case of it being unfortunate that we still have the CV as the number one thing that people will review before they, pick up the phone to you and decide on, taking you through to an interview. It's still being used today, and LinkedIn, coupled with that, is the follow up that people will view. Let me go ahead and share my slides. Let me see. That's better. I haven't done an actual live. I don't know if you've noticed, but there've been restreams the last two sessions, session one and session two. And this one in particular, because the slides hadn't worked, I decided to jump on live. So hopefully you can hear me and you can see me well out there for whoever is tuning in. And I hope you're doing well. So I've already spoken about that. Session one and two, I'm going to do a bit of a recap. And firstly, I'll do that by sort of articulating why it's so important for us to do this career roadmap series. The reason why I'm doing this career roadmap series is to instill in you, to impart the knowledge that you shouldn't just wait till you've got to the point of pain and suffering when it comes to you wanting to make a change in your career. You want to have some control over, the timelines and what you're actually pitching yourself for, and to, scramble at the end, oh my gosh, there's an opportunity I want to go for and I don't have a CV, and, you push for time and then you feel stressed about doing it. I don't think I've come across any individual that's enjoyed doing their CV themselves. But the Career Roadmap series enables you to always be equipped with what it is that you're seeking to do and the timeline associated with it at every stage of your career. So session one, just to recap, as I was mentioning to you, is all about self-evaluation. If you figure out what skills you have, if you figure out what it is that you enjoy doing, then that, proceeds to session two, which is evaluating what are your options. If you feel like you want to transfer your skills, then maybe it's further studies, further vocation, a certification of some kind. Uh, and then role options dedicated to the things that you enjoy doing. If you evaluate the skills that give you that career happiness, then you know what kind of roles you want to go for. That's why you'll know what role options really resonate with you. And part of that is looking at what's going on in the marketplace. What are the sectors that are hiring? What are the kind of opportunities that they need? How does it tie into what I want to do in my career? Now, the third session is today. CV and LinkedIn, the two top things that every recruiter and hiring manager will view. And you know what? As a follow up to this, I've been really thinking about it and workshopping it with fellow recruiters. In fact, if we could choose, what would we be replacing the CV with to evaluate a person's skill set, to understand whether, we do want to have them as part of the hiring process. We do want to interview them. We do want to consider them for an opportunity for a business that we're hiring for. So I'd love to hear some ideas for anyone out there, even non-recruiters, probably more innovation that comes from there. So let's see what happens. And then, moving on to the fourth section, once you've done those three top things and you've got your social collateral and your personal branding, if you like, how you want to show up in this world, what you want to be known for, that's the whole point of it. That's what a CV does. That's what the LinkedIn does. It articulates your professional story so that you don't have to scramble in the back of your mind and remember all the things that you have done. Doing the exercise of articulating a CV, it shouldn't necessarily be a painstaking process. It should be one where you feel proud of the things that you have done. Whether it is that you're starting out in your career and you're reflecting on the leadership roles that you've had, perhaps, whilst you're at high school and you're embarking on, going into university and the things that you've done there, or your first job, or if you are a midlifer and you've had a few role opportunities in a business and you haven't really stopped to reflect on what it is that you have done. So it's important to have that. So moving on to the next stage, you've got your collateral ready, and then it's like, okay, now it's time to showcase what it is that you have done to the people out there that don't know you. That's the whole point of it. And then coming up with an effective job search strategy, that's also critical. That's quite important to do. And part of that is, understanding what are the products and services that really resonate with you? What are the businesses that you would want to work for aligned to that? And in terms of values, it's a really key one, especially after the last 2 years. Everyone's really evaluating the values of a business. And how does that tie into mine? Because that's what's going to enable me to be set up for success. When there is a values misalignment, that tends to be a clash, and tends to be a clash that leads to unhappiness. You don't want career unhappiness, you want career happiness. That's the key thing. And then correspondingly, as the weeks progress, you will get to a stage where you get to the career plan itself. What is a career plan? It constitutes what's the outcome that you're wanting to achieve, and then the timeline associated with it, and then the steps that you need to take towards that. It's quite important to do, whether you want to do that on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, every 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. It's important to have a plan. Because if you don't have a plan, you're just going to stumble along, and you're going to be guided by what others are telling you to do. And you don't necessarily want to do that when it comes to your career, especially when it comes to your career. You actually want to do stuff that you enjoy. You want to make an impact and make a contribution, the things that are going to give you growth as well at the same time, which is why even if you embark on a new role right now, you're already thinking about what you're going to do next. And then the final session is all about momentum, keeping up the momentum, having that career roadmap at the ready, so you can draw upon that and just add to it and tweak it. Whether it's you transferring to a new role, or you're stepping up into a new vocation, or you're stepping out of a business, or you're moving up within the business itself. So yeah, when it comes to your career, CV and LinkedIn, they showcase what it is that you want to be known for out there. It's a case of, if you want to focus on a particular career vocation, then embed that in part of your CV. I can frame my career in two ways. I was a scientist that embarked on a new career into recruiting. Now, if I'm going for scientific recruiting opportunities, then I'm going to be, highlighting that specifically. If I'm not, then I might, sort of take that information out. So that's why it's important to have what you need, like what you want in your CV, that's going to allow you to get to the career destination of your choice. Now, I can't actually see my slides, and hopefully you all out there can. Let me just pause for a second. Firstly, there are a few comments out there. Oh, all right. There's a user that's being very cheeky, and I've just had to block them. Not very nice at all. Okay, good to know that it's loud and clear and the vision is good. Fantastic. Can you see this slide number 6? Hopefully you can. So the recap on session 1 and 2, that's what I had mentioned to you. Evaluating your options, really key, especially as a follow-up to you knowing what you want, what skills you have. The must-haves being defined, that's hopefully where you're at after you've done session 1 and 2. Now it's about how you present your information, and I'm going to go through some quick tips now on the next slide. Let me do that. Okay, the quick tips. Hopefully you've got a pen and paper at the ready. Part of the career roadmap that you should always keep up to date. Don't wait till, oh my gosh, I've got an interview coming up, or actually it happens before that. Let me take that back. You are about to apply for a role, or you're going to showcase your skills to someone, and you have to scramble to update it, and you might get in touch with someone and they look at it for you. Well, how about you do it in advance? This is what this is all about. Okay, so the quick tips, have that as your approach to this. So it starts with knowing what types of roles you would like to be considered for. If you think about it on that basis, it's all about how you're framing the information so that it's relevant to the specific role that you're applying to. How many times have you been advised to update keywords reflective of the job application or the job role that you're pitching yourself to? Because you've got to actually highlight where it is that your experience ties into the thing that you are wanting to show an interest in. If that's not too obvious, then the recruiter or hiring manager are not going to pick up the phone to you. So that's why it's important to start off, know the roles that you want to go for from evaluating your role options, skills, role options. Great, now I've got my CV and I can start embedding some of the keywords that reflect the type of career opportunities that I want to pitch myself for. And that's how you start framing it. And of course, it's all about choosing a template. So say you don't have a CV right now, choose a template that works for you. In the Australian market, you don't necessarily have to have a photo and things like that, but choose something that you like, and have colors where it's just two colors, no more than that. But the key structure of a CV is your name, the summary of your professional story, your education, showcasing your skills. So that's where you can embed the keywords and you can sort of transfer depending on the job role that you're applying to. And interests, like so many recruiters that you will ask will frame it differently, but this is the essence of what goes into a CV. So if you've got a template and it's housing this information and you're framing yourself a certain way, then you're on to a good start here. So I've already mentioned the keywords. The keywords are important to enhance the skills that you have. It's not to sugarcoat, it's not to actually put in anything in there that you don't have. It's to highlight the things that you do have. So the type of role remit and what you have achieved, this is usually how it's framed. So when a recruiter or a hiring manager look at your profile, they look at your CV, they'll look at your education, they'll read your professional story, and they'll look at what's the most recent role that you've worked in, and is it related to what I'm actually hiring for? And if it isn't, I'll look, further down in terms of the person's experience. So if you are presenting the information in a format that's easy to read, so you're kind of spoon feeding the information, then that's a key win. So having, the role remit, the company that you worked for, and what you actually achieved in that role. That's a quick thing to do. So if you're thinking about how to structure your CV, do it that way. Most recruiters like to see that information in that way because, let's face it, we don't spend too much time reading a person's CV. We're speed readers. We have that as a superpower. And then moving on to the next stage, the CV and the LinkedIn, it's all about, what's the point of it? It tells your professional story. What do you want to be known for? I've already mentioned that to you. If you think about it in that way, it doesn't feel so hard or so bad to update your CV. It's a way to showcase your skills. And until such time that the recruitment sector comes up with a different approach that makes it really straightforward for us to evaluate your skills and how you show up and what you want to do and how it ties into what we're hiring for, we're going to be using the CV. And the LinkedIn is almost like a quick synopsis of what you have done in your professional vocation. And it's a second thing that recruiters and hiring managers will look at. And if I reflect on my current experiences with who I'm supporting, it's really the recruiter that will evaluate the CV. By the time that you get to the hiring manager, they will be looking at your LinkedIn profile because they will trust the recruiter, has done the evaluation, has had a conversation with you, and they'll just want to see a synopsis. They will look at your LinkedIn profile. So if you haven't got a LinkedIn profile and you have started your job search, my advice is go ahead and start to compile a profile and join the Slack community if you get stuck. If you do have a LinkedIn profile, my advice is to enhance it in certain ways. And it's to really articulate the keywords within your headline, the professional story. You could lift and shift what you have within your CV and put it into your LinkedIn, and you can be a bit more poetic and a bit more storytelling. If you want further advice on LinkedIn, because I'm not a LinkedIn expert, so there are so many out there in how to enhance your profile so you can get people, connecting with you. I can give you the cheat codes as to what a recruiter will look at and therefore what a hiring manager will look at. And I can help you update that. Having a professional photo, a background, photo that says that you're active on LinkedIn, and your professional story, if they're the three things that you update today, then you're on to a good start. Okay. So The sixth point, you've got your CV and your LinkedIn. The CV, articulating the information about the types of roles that you're wanting to pitch yourself for, doing it in the format that I had suggested, breaking it down. You're ready to start sharing it, whether it's, you networking and making those connections on LinkedIn, or you're making those job applications where a recruiter or a hiring manager will review your CV. And ask for advice. If you are speaking to recruiters and you're having a conversation, ask them what they thought of your CV and where you feel that you can enhance it. Why not? You're already talking to them and they see so many of them. And remember to always update and tweak your CV. You are always evolving within your career vocation. You're always taking on maybe a new project or you're stepping up into a new role. Make sure you're updating it as you go along. So you're not just coming at the end of it, before you make that application, as I had mentioned to you already, and you're scrambling. So we want to avoid that. Now, this is a really quick whistle stop tour. The reason why I'm just whizzing through this is because I do have a hard stop. But if you're wanting further support, number one, there's a CV masterclass that's coming up, okay, on Monday. So join the Protoscience Slack community. It's a free community. It's sharing, it's learning, it's teaching, and that's typically the place where I house all information on the career roadmap and the previous videos. And if you are embarking on your job search right now, I can give you some quick tips on how to get ahead. And if you're also interested, I am doing a boot camp, I've decided, for this career roadmap series. So if you're wanting to join that, please just reach out and I'll give you further information on that as well. I think once again, in my live stream, I've got someone being really naughty and I need to block them. This hasn't happened before. Never mind. Apologies if it's, coming out on that side. All right, I think I've handled it. Okay, so thanks for tuning in today. I hope that you found some of my quick whistle stop tour tips useful. To take it further, like I said, get in touch with me, join the Protoscience Slack community. There are a couple of things that you could do to propel yourself and move your career forward. And I will see you on the other side. I'll see you next week, same time next week for session 4. So take care until then. Bye for now.